Nothing is impossible. This is not just a story. This is a reminder. A reminder that your beginning does not define your ending. There was once a boy who started with nothing. No money in his pocket. No degree on the wall. No powerful people behind him. No one to guide him. No one to believe in him. Everywhere he looked, doors were closed. Everywhere he went, people told him the same thing. It's too late. You can't do it. People like you don't succeed. And sometimes, he believed them. He watched others move forward while he stayed behind. He saw people with fewer dreams but more chances. He felt invisible, forgotten, small. But deep inside him, there was a quiet voice. Not loud, not confident, just persistent. It whispered, "What if they are wrong? What if this pain is not punishment but preparation?" So he decided to do something simple but powerful. He refused to quit. He woke up when motivation was gone. He worked when no one was watching. He learned when others were sleeping. He failed and failed again and failed better. There were days he wanted to stop, days when the weight felt unbearable, days when progress was invisible. But he kept moving, one step, one small decision, one quiet victory at a time. He didn't change overnight. He didn't become successful suddenly. What changed first was his mindset. He stopped asking, "Why is life unfair to me?" and started asking, "What can I control today?" He learned that success is not about luck. It's about consistency. It's about showing up when it's hard. It's about choosing discipline over comfort. Slowly, things began to shift. Not dramatically, not perfectly, but surely. Skills replaced excuses. Confidence replaced fear. Purpose replaced confusion. And one day he looked back and realized something important. The boy who started with nothing was no longer nothing. Not because he became rich, not because he became famous, but because he proved something powerful. That circumstances do not decide your future. Your decisions do. Nothing is impossible. Not because life is easy, but because the human spirit is stronger than any obstacle. If you are listening to this right now, this story is not about him. It's about you, your struggles, your doubts, your quiet hope that maybe, just maybe, you can change your life. And you can. Not tomorrow, not someday, but starting now. Because nothing is impossible when you refuse to give up. A quiet promise you make to yourself when the world tells you to stop. The boy in this story woke up every day with doubt sitting on his chest. No money meant no options. No degree meant no respect. No support meant every failure felt heavier. People around him didn't believe in dreams. They believed in limits. They said, "Be realistic." But what they really meant was, "Stay where you are." So he learned something important. If no one believes in you, you must believe twice as hard. He started small, very small. While others waited for motivation, he worked with discipline. While others complained, he learned. While others slept, he prepared. Every day was a fight between fear and faith. Fear said, "You are not enough." Faith said, "Not yet." He failed many times. Not once, not twice. But failure stopped being an enemy. It became a teacher. Each mistake showed him where to grow. Each rejection showed him who he needed to become. Slowly, quietly, things changed. Not overnight, not magically, but step by step. Confidence replaced fear. Action replaced excuses. Consistency replaced motivation. And one day, he stood where people said he never would. Not because life was easy, but because he refused to quit. This is the truth no one tells you. Success is not about talent. It is about endurance. It is about showing up when no one is watching. It is about choosing progress over comfort. If you are struggling right now, remember this. Your current situation is not your final destination. Your past does not define your future. Your lack of resources does not cancel your potential. Nothing is impossible for the person who keeps moving forward, even when the path is unclear, even when the results are slow, even when hope feels distant. Because the strongest people are not those who never fall, they are the ones who rise every single time. And if he could do it with nothing, you can do it with what you have today. He stood there looking at the long road behind him. Every step he had taken was heavy. Every step carried doubt, fear, and silence. People never saw the nights when he questioned himself. They never heard the voice in his head saying, "Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe this dream is too big for someone like you." But what they didn't see was his decision. A quiet decision. A powerful one. He decided that his past would not define his future. He decided that failure was not a stop. It was a lesson. He decided that pain was not punishment. It was preparation. Day by day, he learned something important. Nothing changes all at once. Change happens in small moments, in discipline, in showing up when no one is watching, in continuing when quitting feels easier. There were days when progress felt invisible, days when effort brought no reward, days when hope felt far away, but still, he moved forward. Not because he was fearless, but because he was determined. He understood that success is not about talent alone. It is about consistency. It is about patience. It is about believing in yourself when the world doubts you. Slowly, things began to shift. His mindset grew stronger. His confidence became quieter, but deeper. He no longer needed approval. He no longer needed validation. He trusted the process. And then one day, he realized something powerful. He was no longer chasing the mountain. He was standing on it, not because life became easy, but because he became stronger. This is not just his story. This is a reminder. If you are struggling right now, if you feel behind, if you feel like nothing is working, remember this. You don't need perfect conditions to move forward. You don't need support from everyone. You don't need to have it all figured out. You only need one thing, the courage to keep going, because nothing is impossible for the person who refuses to give up. He walked forward while others stopped. He moved when fear whispered, "You can't." Every step was heavy, but his belief was heavier. There were nights when he doubted himself, nights when the silence was louder than hope. But deep inside, a small voice kept saying, "One more step." He failed many times. People laughed. Some said he was wasting his life, but he understood something they didn't. Failure is not the end. Failure is training. With every fall, he learned. With every loss, he grew stronger. Pain became his teacher, not his enemy. He didn't wait for motivation. He built discipline. He didn't wait for support. He became his own support. Slowly, the mountain became smaller. Not because the mountain changed, but because he did. One day, he looked back and realized, the same path that almost broke him is the path that made him unstoppable. Nothing changed overnight. No miracle, no shortcut. Just consistency, just courage, just belief. And when he finally reached the top, he didn't shout. He didn't celebrate loudly. He smiled quietly, because he knew nothing is impossible for the person who refuses to quit. Those words sound simple, but they carry the weight of countless silent battles, sleepless nights, and broken hopes that refuse to die. This is the story of someone who began with empty hands and a heavy heart. No money, no degree, no powerful connections. Only a quiet belief that life had to be more than survival. Every day felt like a test. Not the kind with answers written in a book, but the kind that asks, will you quit today, or will you try one more time? People around him doubted. Some laughed. Some said, be realistic. Others said nothing at all, and that silence hurt the most. But deep inside, he understood something important. Your starting point does not decide your destination. He failed many times. Plans collapsed, opportunities disappeared, confidence cracked. Yet every failure taught him a lesson. Not how to win, but how to stand up again. He learned that progress is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It grows quietly, in discipline, in patience, in showing up when no one is watching. There were days when quitting felt easier than continuing. Days when doubt whispered, "You're not good enough." Days when fear said, "What if you try and still fail?" But he discovered a powerful truth. Fear loses its power the moment you move forward anyway. Step by step, he changed. Not overnight, not magically, but gradually. He read when others slept. He practiced when motivation was gone. He chose consistency over comfort, and slowly, the impossible began to look possible. The world didn't change first. He did. His mindset shifted, his habits aligned, his attitude became stronger than his circumstances. One day, he looked back and realized something unbelievable. The life he once dreamed about was now the life he was living. Not because he was special, not because he was lucky, but because he refused to give up. This is the message you need to hear today. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need permission. You don't need to know every step. You only need to take the next one. No matter how slow your progress feels, no matter how heavy your past is, no matter how many times you've failed, nothing is impossible when you decide not to quit. Your story is not over. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. And one day, your journey will inspire someone else to believe again. Because impossible is just a word used by those who stopped trying. Remember, change starts with one small step. Believe in yourself and keep moving forward. Your future is created by what you do today. Stay focused, stay strong, and never give up. See you in the next video.